I've been making Aeropress coffee all around the world, and in that time, I've come up with what I consider to be the perfect Aeropress coffee, the perfect camping coffee, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. So let's get started. So I'm actually up in Vermont right now, and the weather is absolutely perfect. It's a little on the cold side, and it's supposed to rain later, but I feel like that is some of the best weather to be in Vermont in. You just get that kind of grungy, moody Vermont side, and with the peak foliage is just really, it's the perfect season to be here. Anyways, to start off, I like to grind my coffee beans and buy whole bean coffee. I don't do it all the time, especially if I'm in a rush to go to work or whatnot, but when I'm out here in nature, there's something almost meditative about grinding your coffee and not buying pre-ground. To each their own on this. It's not a hill that I would die on. There are people that swear by it. I don't even have the best coffee grinder here right now. It's something that I'm looking into getting into. However, it does noticeably taste better, and again, it's just one of those things that I enjoy doing when I'm out camping. So I pretty much fill up my entire coffee grinder. I find that even if I have leftover extra, I don't really mind that, and it makes it that much more easy the next time I have to go and grind the coffee. So usually while I'm grinding the coffee, I'll actually start to get my water ready as well and bring that to a boil. If you bring it to a boil, you want to stop it just below the boiling point, depending on the coffee grind that you're using. For the most part, I just go to boiling and then let it sit for like a minute so that it cools off quite a bit. For this video, I'm actually just going to use my Stanley percolator to boil the coffee. You can use whatever you want. A lot of people are using jet boils when they're out camping. That makes perfect sense. I just always carry this with me, and I think it's nice. It's probably kind of odd to use this and transfer into the Aeropress, but either way, it's fireproof, and I like throwing this in the fire, and I think I'm going to do that right now, actually. And since I'm going to be doing both the inverted method, which is my personal favorite on the Aeropress, and also the traditional method, I'm going to add a little bit extra water to keep that boiling. And so while I'm letting the water come to a boil, I'm just going to finish grinding the coffee here. And I'll speed this up in post, I swear. All right, so the coffee is ground, and I'm pretty sure that we're almost boiling over there by the fire. So this video, I'm using the Aeropress Go. It's just an easier one to transport, and it comes with this built-in mug that I quite like, but I often never really use because I always have a nice mug with me. So to start off, I basically just put the filter on here. This is one of Aeropress's filters, and they say that if you want to try and get rid of the paper taste, you could pour water, hot water on here, and then that'll get rid of that taste. And also, if you have difficulty with the filter coming off while you're putting it on the Aeropress, then adding hot water will actually help to stick it to this top piece. And so if you're doing the traditional method, you take the plunger out. This is the plunger, and this is the top chamber. And then I just put this filter and the top piece on here, lock that off, place it on my coffee mug. And I never really have that papery taste in my coffee, so I don't often wet that filter. However, if it is having difficulty sticking, then I will go ahead and wet it. So from here, I'll take my grinder for coffee and drop this in. And if you're maybe doing this at home and you have a kitchen scale, then you of course can weigh your coffee beans beforehand, aiming for around 16 to 17 grams for a single cup. However, if you're out in nature, you kind of can eye it after a while, and I try and put it to about 3/4 of an inch above where the bottom of the filter is. And again, this is all for a single cup of coffee. If you were trying to do more than that, and I never really do that, I'll just redo the entire process if I'm doing multiple. But you could double the coffee and then add extra water after. And so now I'm gonna go grab the boiling water. And now that I have my just below boiling water, it has to be around 165 degrees. Again, if you're out camping, it's not that serious, especially for me. I'm not like a snob when it comes to this stuff, despite this entire setup. Might sound kind of ridiculous. And then I will just pour, almost like a pour over, I'll kind of disperse the water over all of the coffee grounds. And then I actually stir the coffee grounds, and I don't have the Aeropress stirrer, so I'm just using a thermometer here. We're camping. This is guerrilla filmmaking here. Guerrilla coffee making here. And you can let it sit for around 30 seconds. And some of the coffee will already start going down into the mug before you even use the plunger. But after around 20 to 30 seconds, I'll grab the plunger, and with not too much force, around 20 seconds, I'll kind of just let my hand push the plunger down and push the coffee into the mug. And you'll know it's ready when it makes a satisfying hiss sound. And that's our first cup of coffee with the traditional Aeropress method. Cheers. It's really, really good. That's good. I might have to take a minute here before I do the inverted method. I'm gonna be caffeinated out by the end of this video. All right, so now we're gonna do that entire beginning process all over again. So I'm gonna grind my coffee beans again, and I'm gonna go bring this pot to a boil over the fire. And so to get this ready for the inverted method, I'm just going to pull the plunger down from where it was and have it just above where the end of the Aeropress is. And you wanna make sure this is completely even. You don't want that plunger crooked in any way. And this has to be completely flat because you risk the water basically just tilting over and completely falling over with the Aeropress. So it's super important to make sure that this is completely level. And if you have a newer Aeropress, it's going to be extremely slick at first, so you might have to actually hold it for quite some time when you're doing this method. But just be wary of that. If you see that your Aeropress is slipping, like in this direction, and your coffee is about to fall, it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on, especially for the inverted method. Aside from that, it's still my preferred way of making an Aeropress coffee. So I'll take my coffee grinds here and just drop it into the Aeropress. Again, it's about 3/4 of an inch. And just like the last method, almost like a pour over, I'm going to just pour the water slowly in to the top of the Aeropress. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stir this. And then I'll let that sit for around 30 seconds. In that time, I'm gonna add my filter to the top piece here. And then I'll give this one last stir before I put the filter on. And so like I was saying, you wanna make sure that this is entirely flat here on the Aeropress because you risk the entire thing tipping over. So with your hand, kind of just quickly bring it over to the top. You don't have to be crazy fast, but bring it over to the top of your mug. And then once you're here, it's the same as the last method. And over the course of 20 seconds, you want to be pushing down. And again, once it's complete, you'll hear that satisfying hiss sound. And there you have it. Let's give this a try. Man, that is, guys, without exaggeration, the perfect Aeropress coffee. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, definitely consider subscribing. Now, I've got a lot of coffee to drink here. I'm about to be buzzing, which is perfect because I've got an entire state of Vermont to explore. So I'll see you guys out there on the road. I'm there before the setting sun, for you to fall into.